Chapter 181, The Anger. This chapter is updated by novels.pl. Well, you are really bold. I'm very impressed. Lin Chenyu smirked as he sat back down. Just then, a maid walked out of the third floor of the sky-approaching pavilion, stared at the lobby below and said aloud, "Young master, Commandery Princess Yanjin wants to meet you in the private room on the third floor." Suddenly, all the warriors in the sky-approaching pavilion went silent. They were all staring at Zhang Yuochen with a gloating smile. Many of them wanted to see the look of panic on Zhang Yuochen's face. But to their disappointment, Zhang Yuochen was just momentarily stunned. His expression immediately returned to normal and he walked up the stairs to the third floor. He was not really engaged in Huang Yanjun, so there was nothing to worry about. Ximeng Guanren stared at Zhang Yuochen who was walking up the stairs and he grinned suddenly. Zhang Yuochen dares to compete for the best eating a company beauty in front of Commandery Princess Yanjun. Just watch. Commandery Princess Yanjun certainly can't tolerate him, and will break off the engagement today. That is inevitable. He may even get a good spanking and get beaten to a wreck. Ha ha. Hu Juhan laughed. Even Liu Chengfeng and Zhang Shixiu looked worried. After all, Huang Yanjun was a famous devil. Zhang Yuochen was really behind the 8 ball this time. Zhang Yuochen opened the door to the private room. There were 12 people in the room and they were all staring at him. There were 7 men and 5 women, all of them good-looking and graceful. They were all peerless talents. Everyone's cultivation is above the level of the earth realm. Zhang Yuochen felt their breathing and could roughly tell their cultivation. Indeed, birds of a feather flocked together. Huang Yanjun stared at Zhang Yuochen. Her eyes were cold. She said, "Zhang Yuochen, the best eating a company beauty is very beautiful, isn't she?" Since there were outsiders here, it was better for Zhang Yuochen to clear things up so Huang Yanjun would not feel embarrassed in front of her friends. Even if it was a fake engagement, they should still respect each other. Zhang Yuochen said, "Senior sister apprentice Huang, you misunderstand me. I am just helping my brother to aid the best eating a company beauty, there is nothing else." Xungihai laughed coldly and said, "Zhang Yuochen, it has come to this point. Is there any meaning to life again? You should kneel down and admit your mistake, otherwise, even if Commandery Princess Yanjun let you go, Xungihai, won't." Zhuo Lengxuan gave Zhang Yuochen a side eye and said, "Not only that, I think he also needs to personally kill the best eating a company beauty." At this moment, 2 warriors clad in armor escorted the best eating a company beauty to them. Being pressed down with a great force, she knelt down on the ground with a muffled groan. Zhang Yuochen felt a chill watching this, and he swept the room with a glance. His eyes rested on Huang Yanjun in the end and said, "Huang Yanjun, is this your idea as well?" Huang Yanjun gave Xungihai and Zhuo Lengxuan a severe look. She knew very well that Zhang Yuochen was more arrogant than anyone. Even if both of them forced Zhang Yuochen, there was no way he would kneel down. They wanted to force Zhang Yuochen to completely join the opposing side of her. However, Huang Yanjun was adored by many people since young and she never lowered her head to anyone. Now, facing Zhang Yuochen's question, would she lower her head? Besides, it was all Zhang Yuochen's fault for making her lost face today. Why would she yield? Xungihai noticed Huang Yanjun's hesitation. He grabbed the chance, stood up instantly and said, "Zhang Yuochen, you see now that Commandery Princess Yanjun doesn't want to talk to you at all. Why don't you kill the best eating a company beauty immediately, kneel down and admit your mistakes?" Zhang Yuochen looked at Huang Yanjun disappointedly, flapped his sleeves and said, "No one can force me to get on my knees and admit a mistake, and no one can force me to kill someone either." Then, Zhang Yuochen turned around and went out. He quickly extended 2 palms and sent the 2 warriors clad in armor flying into the air. Boom! 2 warriors fell all the way down onto the first floor from the third floor. Zhang Yuochen helped the best eating a company beauty who was a half-peacock human to her feet and said, "Since I bought you, you are mine from now on. No one can kill you. Let's go." In the past, Zhang Yuochen believed that although Huang Yanjun was spoiled, at least she had a principle of doing things. But now, he was very disappointed in her and did not want to stay here anymore. In fact, Zhang Yuochen regarded Huang Yanjun as a friend of his own. As a friend, She should know his conduct. If Zhang Yuochen wanted a woman, would he spend money to buy one? Anyway, since they were friends, if they could not trust each other, there was no need to stay friends anymore. Huang Yanchen felt a pang in her heart as she watched Zhang Yuochen leaving the place. It was an unprecedented feeling of pain. She felt as if a knife had pierced through her heart. Zhang Yuochen, do you still think you can leave the sky-approaching pavilion alive? Xungihai, who was in a really good mood, gave a loud laugh. He flew out of the room and caught up with Zhang Yuochen. He ran the genuine chi to his fingertips and pointed at Zhang Yuochen's back. He wanted to kill Zhang Yuochen. Having heard the sound of the wind behind him, Zhang Yuochen halted his steps instantly. He turned around and unleashed a 5-palm strike. 5 times of power broke out when all 5 palms were combined together. 9 folds of the elephant power. Zhang Yuochen's palms turned completely white, emitting dazzling light. The force of their palms and fingers collided, and ripples of energy burst out of the fight between Zhang Yuochen and Xungihai. Boom! Xungihai flew backward and smashed the door of the private room. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell down to the ground with his hair disheveled. Zhang Yuochen only stumbled half a step backward before regaining his balance. He stared at Xungihai and said, "Do you think you can stop me? You're such a fool." The fight between Zhang Yuochen and Xungihai just now was certainly witnessed by the warriors on the first and second floor. Everyone was astonished and found it unbelievable. Xungihai was once the top student in the Eastern Campus. Now, he is at the level of the Earth realm and has become an internal student. His cultivation is unfathomable. How can he be defeated by Zhang Yuochen with 1 palm? Is it true that Zhang Yuochen's cultivation is only at the level of the Black Realm? Not only the warriors on the first and second floor were shocked, but those in the private room were very much amazed as well. They did not know the real strength of Zhang Yuochen, but they were clearly aware of Xungihai's strength. His cultivation had almost reached the level of the mid-stage of the Earth realm and could totally compete with the warriors at the level of the advanced stage of the Earth realm. But Zhang Yuochen defeated Xungihai with only 1 palm. That was too exaggerated. Could it be that Zhang Yuochen's cultivation has reached the Earth realm? Many of them were making the same assumption. Xungihai was furious. He did a kick up and shouted, "Zhang Yuochen, today, one shall stand and one shall fall." Xungihai spread his legs slightly apart and changed his standing posture into a horse stance. Lifting his head up, he took a deep breath and it expanded his abdomen. The wave of genuine chi came rushing in, gathering at his abdomen. Whoosh! Suddenly, Xungihai rushed out of the place at a speed as fast as lightning and flung himself in front of Zhang Yuochen in no time. The genuine chi in his abdomen surged up to his arms, and he unleashed a big palm strike. Abdomen through palm. Abdomen through palm was a martial technique in the mid-class of the spiritual stage. 9 folds of the elephant power. Zhang Yuochen stood still in his original position with his arms extended out straight and unleashed 5 palms in a row. Combining the force of all 5 palms, he confronted the attack.